And we are live. I am
Awesome.
joined by Yara Roshidi, who is the founder of Levels, and he's been on a 100-day Webflow journey, which is so epic. He's been pumping out content every single day, and as part of, I guess, like a bit of a marketing campaign for Level Flow, he's been exploring animations, and that's how I first came across you because of you tagged Slater app, and I'd seen your videos and seen your face around on Twitter and LinkedIn and stuff. But then I started watching your videos because I do the Slater app Twitter, and I was like, hold on, we got to get this guy on the live stream. So thank you for coming on and taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here. And yes, it's been an interesting journey I'm doing this 100 days. Like you said, it's like a marketing campaign for Level Flow, for like my personal brand as well, and to as well, like I'm learning stuff. Like it's not just I'm teaching stuff on the videos. I'm also learning stuff because I have to prepare for these videos. So I'm learning and teaching stuff on the tutorials. Um, Midway through this journey, so I started this 100 days, and like maybe day 15 or something, Webflow announced, hey, we made Webflow apps. And I had already a plan like for my 100 days, and then they made Webflow apps, and I'm like, okay, wait, we need to change course. There's something cool happening right now. And then I started exploring the apps, and I've always wanted something like Slater. Like I've always wanted to have like, where I can write my code and where I can have an AI to help me with the code. Because I used to do that. Like honestly, I used to, go to ChatGPT. Okay, if I have a question or something in the code that I want to fix, instead of like going back and forth between some people and developers, I just go to ChatGPT and try to like fix it myself. But right now, I have that Slater right there with me, and it's pretty awesome. Like you guys made a great application. I know that Slater was there before it was on Waflo apps. I haven't personally used it, like I wasn't aware of it. But when it started on Waflo apps, it was like right there, so it was much easier for me. Like you just click on the apps tab and you get it right there. And
Awesome.
yeah, I started testing around, and I started seeing what it can do. And with GSAP, I made like some cool stuff, and I was like, okay, this thing is powerful. It's like it's just about how you use it. And I was watching your live yesterday, and I guess Jared, if I say his name right, Jared was saying that I'm doing the prompts in a good way, and this is it. Like basically, I'm just like focusing on prompting in an efficient way so that I get the good result. And it's like a back and forth conversation. With the AI, you have to have this back and forth conversation, and then have that good prompt where you're like, okay, this is what I want in detail. These are my classes. These are my divs. Just give me this animation that I want, and it just gives it to you.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay. There's so much to dig into here. So you're doing this 100 days. I'm actually
Yeah.
gonna share the screen and we'll just have a quick look at it. If anyone's watching this and isn't in this 100-day journey with Yard, then where are you guys? Watch it. There's so much good content happening in here. So I'm on his Twitter right now, which you guys should go follow right now at Yaroshidi. And we're on day 38. So I guess day 39 is today. Is that right?
Yesterday, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because that's 11 hours ago. But yeah, Ya's been making just insane consistency of videos. Just look at these. So scroll down, boom, boom, boom. And the best way to learn to do something I've found is to try and teach it, because you've got to be like, okay, there's all these different things, and what I've got to do is explain it in a systematic, like approachable way to someone else, which is such a good way of learning. It's really really effective. So I think it's a really really smart way of raising your personal profile, and then also level flow as well, because I think if you can clarify and educate for someone else, that's a really, really strong way of selling. So makes a ton
Exactly.
of sense. Makes a ton of sense, man. And I guess
Exactly.
were you? Oh, you got an alarm going.
Sorry.
Did you? No, no, no. This is a live stream. Things are gonna go wrong, and
Yeah,
it's
things happen like
totally yeah,
that.
totally fine. We've had live streams which just weren't live streams because the person's internet didn't work, and it's like,
Yeah,
okay, this live is not really live. So don't worry. But I wanted to ask you: were you influenced with this 100-day kind of thought process because of Matthias Peters, who has also done? He did 100 days of animation, I believe, rather than just like 100 days of Webflow. But like, why did you?
yeah,
Because there's
yeah.
tons of ways of
There was.
marketing an agency, but like this seems like a pretty intense way of doing it.
It is pretty intense. Like I'm spending a lot of time doing this, but I actually had this plan. So I'm moving towards this subscription model type of work. So I offer a subscription model for Webflow services, and for the subscription model, like to work, the selling point is the speed. Basically, you have to be fast and you have to be efficient. So you need to showcase that, okay, if you subscribe to me per 1 month, let's say, I'm gonna give you like good results. So like when you give me a task, I'm gonna finish it in a quick way. I guess his name is Brett from Design Joy. He was like the face of this in the beginning. And yeah, so I got inspired by that. Also, I saw them on the Matthias 100 Days of Animation. I saw them on the clonables. And also, there is the 100 Days of Code that is on Twitter that used to
Ma-
trend.
yeah,
And
Max Haining. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, so I've got inspired by that as well. And I was like, okay, there are a lot of people doing this. Like, it's not like impossible. Like, it's been done. So I was like, okay, let me do it. Another thing, I did this before. I actually did this before. It wasn't 100 days. I did like a 69. I 69 just for fun. So I did the 69 days. 69 days. I did actually 69 days of coding. I did 69 days of starting my freelance business. And this is how I actually you know gave myself this boost. So I was like consistent for 69 days. I was like, okay, every day there's something happening. I'm like building my portfolio, building my profile, building my level workflow skills. And this was like 2 years ago or something. But this time, since the subscription model, I was like, okay, we need to focus on speed. I need to focus on selling. I'm a Webflow guy, because now I recently got the Webflow expert. I joined the Webflow expert program with the Webflow guys. So I was like, okay, I
Mm.
need to showcase that I can do Webflow and I can do it fast. So when you subscribe to me, I'm gonna give you good results. So I was like, what's the best way to market this? And I was like, okay, let's do 100 days. I made the plan, and as I said, like when Webflow apps came in, and I was like, okay, this is like awesome because now I have a lot of things to showcase. Like there's a lot of apps, there's a lot of things to showcase. There's much more to do now on Webflow. I'm not I'm gonna be honest, I'm not like a designer myself. I'm more of a Webflow guy. I have like design experience from experience, but yeah, like so this is what I'm trying to showcase. I'm trying to showcase, okay, I can do Webflow stuff, I can do animations, I can do these things fast, efficiently, make it look good, and I'm consistent with my work. I'm showcasing also that I'm dedicated.
Yeah, you're disciplined. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, to do anything for 100 days in a row
it's like 3 months and something.
yeah. I mean, I wonder if you could if you approach life like that, if everything you did was like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I want to commit. Imagine how good you'd be at everything. Like 100 days of, I'm practicing the trumpet and I'm trying to do
Yeah,
daily session in like 20 days from 0 to 20. You like the
you improve so
improvement
much.
is
Yeah,
insane. Like the
yeah.
curve is like so yeah, I think it's a super super powerful way of learning. And
Exactly. Like anything you do for like 20 days is gonna be, you're gonna like 20 days is just 20 days. You're gonna be like super good at it. what I
Yeah,
did.
and I think the way that you're approaching it as well, like these small things, I think if it was too much every day, then
Yeah,
there's no way you'd have that consistency and discipline. But the fact is that you've got like little thing that you're tackling that day, and I'm sure. I mean, when I say a little thing, some of the things that you do, I'm like, God, I must have taken ages to practice to make the video. It's one thing to like practice something every day, but
yeah,
to actually practice something enough to be good enough to film it, like record it and edit a video, and that's a whole other deal. So respect. I know how hard making content is. Um,
yeah.
okay,
You
let's
make
talk a little
content
bit.
every day as well. Like
I
you're,
do. I do make content every day, but my
yeah,
content's not really like I'm posting a lot and I'm sharing a lot of stuff and doing the newsletter once a week. I think similar to you actually, I had like this non-negotiable where I was like, okay, every single week I want to record a podcast and I want to send out a newsletter. That's what I want to do. And actually I couldn't even do that. I did a podcast every week, but the newsletter dropped off and now it's back. But weekly is hard, let alone daily. So tons of respect.
thank you.
But today I am representing Edgar Allan with Slater. So let's talk a little bit about Slater. We have 2 videos that you've done so far. You've done the tic-tac-toe one. In fact,
Hmm.
no, 3. You've done the tic-tac-toe one, you've done the Barber JS one, and you've done the GSAP one, as far as I know. Those
Yeah,
3
actually, I
that
did
all
one
involve
yesterday
Slater.
because so maybe 4. I did the Swiper JS, so I did the Swiper JS, and then I did the options with Slater AI. So like I told Slater AI, give me the options for the swiper. I wanted to like move with the mouse, and I wanted to keyboard click, and we did that.
Damn, I missed yesterday's one. That is my bad. So you've done
Yeah, no
4
worries.
videos, all
Yeah,
using Slater, and since we're actually doing the game challenge right now, why don't we start by having a little look at the tic-tac-toe one? What I'd love you to do, if you're up for it, is to
for sure.
share your screen, and we can have a little look at Slater together. And I'd love to just see how you're using Slater. As you talk through stuff, maybe there'll be some tips that anyone that's watching along might learn about how to use the AI tool, prompting, maybe how you're using files in Slater. If anyone's got any questions while we're watching along, by the way, feel free to ask them away. Um, we want you guys to feel like we're hearing you. This is an interactive live stream, and we want this to be a shared experience. So while you're getting ready to share stuff, what I might do is just put the tic-tac-toe, your actual project, in the chat, and I'll say as well that there is a clonable, guys. So
Yeah,
I'll
it's
put
clonable.
I'll put that in the chat as well. So when you're ready, feel free to share the screen. Yeah, and we'll go from there.
So I'm gonna share the screen here if you don't mind. Like I'll be looking there.
Don't you worry. You need to
So-
look where you need to look.
Yeah, I have like 3 screens here, so I'm like, just making
Damn.
it easy for myself.
Okay.
Okay, so the tic tac toe. I mean, it's one of the oldest stuff that is out there. I mean, it's like Hello World when you start learning how to make code, and this is when you start learning how to make games. Like tic tac toe is super easy. I think it's been done before on OneFlow. I think it's been done on a lot of pages, but here I was like, okay, I need to start using Slater. I need to like build that logic and just build it out, see if this works. And it actually worked really well. Like it worked really fast. So what I did is I built the HTML. I just built the content, uh, super simple, a grid, and then actually I have another version where I added the scoreboard. Sorry, let me bring that up. I think it's this version.
Awesome. If anyone's wondering why we're looking at tic-tac-toe, by the way, guys, there is a game challenge that is currently on.
Yeah.
And there's some pretty big prizes at play because Webflow are involved as well.
There are some super cool games, by the way, like
Dude,
the
th-
what's it called, the clicking game with the arrows, the arrow click.
oh yeah,
I forget what's
I
called.
think it's called Arrow Journey or Arrow
That one was
Fight
super
or
cool, like
dude,
super cool.
JP Dionisio. Shout out to JP. He's a beast. He's
Amazing. Yeah,
so
that was.
amazing. But just to say as well, if anyone's intimidated by the level of games, if people are watching along, there's 2 merit-based prizes, there's 2 random prizes. So essentially, we want as many people to get involved, and everyone's got a chance to win. And I happen to know that anyone that does enter will receive something. So either way, it's very much worth entering. Sorry, carry on, yeah.
I mean, the experience by itself is amazing. I mean, this was easy. So tic tac toe, simple stuff. I wanted to make it for the video basically. So I built the HTML. First, I didn't have the scores. I built the HTML. I just wanted to build the logic of tic tac toe. I made the reset button, and then I went on to Slater, and we had some nice prompts. So I had fixed the prompt here. Where is it? The main prompt. So generate a JavaScript code, tic-tac-toe. The game board is built. I was explaining that each cell has an ID. So I was very specific in how I told Slater. And then I gave it like the game logic. This is how the game logic will be. X, it's turn X class. And then O is the turn O class. So you just append these text on the box in the cell. And then I was like, okay, when the player wins, just turn it to green. So we have like something to show that the player wins. I mean, this could be better. Like we can have like, fireworks or something, but I was like, just make it simple for the sake of the video. And then the reset button, I also told it like there's a reset button and we need to work on that. And then it actually gave me a super cool code, like just written. I just like I didn't even fix that much. I just like looked at it, checked it out, everything works, published it, and then we had the game, and I was like, wow, this is working. I can play NX and O, and it was like what, I just did that in like 5 minutes. What a time to be alive. And
Yeah.
and then later I was like, okay. During the video, actually, I didn't even think of that. Like during the video, I was like, okay, maybe like take it one step further and try to put a score. So I was like, okay, there is a score. I want to keep a score of the winner by adding the number. And then I added a small number here and I gave it a class. I was like, okay, I have a score X, score O, and then just give me the number. And then I gave me the code. I pasted it in, and then we started targeting the scores. And then now it also gives you a score. Like if you see here, I just played. So if X wins, it gets a 1 point.
Awesome.
Again, like 2 minutes thing, and which is like, if my grandpa could see this, he would go like, "What? I would take a month to build this," and I was like, "Yeah." So it's things like that. Like I know this is not the greatest looking game, but it's the fact that this can happen. There is so much possibilities that can be done now with Slater. Also, like before, remember, like in Webflow, there is a limited amount of code that you can put. I think 10,000 characters, and then that's why in Slater you don't have that. So like you can write even more code, write even more stuff. Another thing that is super cool, it gives you the like what is this code doing, or what is this part of the code doing. So this code is handling the cell click event. So it just like gives you commands inside the code itself, which is super helpful. Like I'm not super JavaScript guy, like I know JavaScript, but I'm not like super efficient or super professional in it. I'm more of a workflow guy, but having this as well helps me out. Like, okay, I have some understanding of JavaScript. So when I see this, okay, I know this is handling the click, and I know maybe if I want to change something or I want to add to the function, so I just like go in it and add more to it. And the fact that it gives me the command helps me improve on this. So So yeah, so I was very happy. Like this came across my way. I was like, okay, now we can build more stuff. I can share with you the GSAP one as well that I did. Uh,
That's awesome. Can I just ask you a quick question
Tell me.
about that? So you're using Slater as an app within the Webflow Designer. So if
Yeah,
anyone's wondering who's watching, you can open Slater in a new tab if you just go to
yeah,
slater.app on the website. There's actually a new website that is launched. So you'll see a whole new website now, uh,
so
which
cool.
I'm not really too sure if I'm
I am
meant
here.
to tell
I
everyone
just saw
about
that.
that. Yeah, yeah, you're there, dude. You're a big part of this.
Cool.
We actually talked about you a few times in the Slater team
Nice.
because
Thank you.
there's a content creator program that we're currently working on, and we've talked about your content creation. Little bit of a scoop there, but what I was
Awesome.
going to say was
Very
with the yeah, dude. Hey, you're a big name on campus. Um, so with the new website, just to explain, guys, there's a lot of content on there, but you can actually open Slater in a new tab, and there's some more functionality features, just like Yah is currently showing. Thank you, and
yeah,
you'll be able to do slightly more functionality by doing that, because in the Webflow Designer, when you open the app, it's just a little iframe, and there's only so
yeah,
much that you can fit on that. But if you want to do the basics of prompting Slater to get code, you can obviously do that within the app. But if you want to invite team members and things like that, there's more functionality here.
yeah,
So we're currently
yeah.
looking at, is this the GSAP
This
one that you've just
this is the
opened?
tic tac toe.
Oh,
No,
this is
so I'll show
tic-tac-toe.
you
Okay.
the GSAP one. So the GSAP one in Slater would be day 26. So this is the GSAP one. It's pretty simple. Like I played around with the code. So I did a test before making the video, and then I was like, okay, this is the code that works. So we'll do that one.
Yeah.
And then I also updated during the video. So first I was doing this section. So what I did is, let me share this one.
And
Um,
just to be clear, yeah, what you're doing is you're building stuff in Webflow,
yeah.
and then you're naming the classes,
Hmm.
specific class names, and then what you're doing is you're going to Slater and you're saying, "Hey Slater, what I want you to do is target this class, like
Exactly.
the photo one, and I want you to use GSAP to have a player function on it." Is that essentially what you're
Yeah.
saying?
So like here, I was like, I want to animate the element with class. So I put a dot sticky animate. So I mentioned the class that I want, and I mentioned like the size. Like let's say I want it to grow from 20 VW to 100 VW on scroll. So I like give it as detailed as I can so that I get a good result.
Yeah.
Um, you can also do this with like if you have like many classes of the same name, you can like give it an ID, and then you can target by the ID name, and
Yeah.
like it's simple stuff. So and then you can like just to let Slater knows what you want, and then you can do it. So this one was pretty simple. Like first, I wanted the image to like go full screen with GSAP.
Mhm.
I like GSAP because GSAP is like I guess it's trending right now, but it gives you like super smooth animations. Um, you have more possibilities than like Webflow native interaction panel. So you have a lot more that you can do. Also, it's like much smoother, much more detailed. So you can say, okay, when I finish this section, just start this animation. When I enter this section, start this animation. So you have like more like hands-on on your animation and what you can do in it. So like this one, just build it out. Okay, first I was like, okay, so I want this image to get full screen when I scroll. Just told Slater, and it did that for me. And then I was like, okay, I also want this header to animate, and there was like a test during the video. So I was like, okay, give me the animation of the text. I guess where was that prompt? Let's see it here. By the way, I don't want to be annoying or anything, but if that is possible, like, can we
Tell
make
me.
this bigger? Like, is there a way to make this like
The
bigger?
iframe. Yeah,
Yeah,
this has been a conversation that's been had because obviously, like I just said, there's less functionality with the smaller frame,
yeah.
right?
It's like a preview of the bigger stuff, right? Like
Yeah,
the real version.
and it's kind of annoying. Um, so
Like sometimes if the prompt is too long, like the button doesn't show. But I click tab, so I click tab and I go to the button so I can click it. But
that's
yeah,
really,
but yeah,
really
for
helpful
me,
feedback.
like, yeah, look, I hope I hope we can fix it.
No, no,
For
no.
me, it was
It's a
like,
really important point.
yeah, I was like, okay, so you can do this right there on Webflow. Like, you don't have to, like, because otherwise you could go to like other apps, and that was already there. But the fact that now you have that preview inside Webflow is like something super helpful for users, because you can just like, here I save to dev, I go to my website, come back again. I
Yeah,
All I need to do is like just install that main code on the page footer,
yeah,
and then it's connected and everything's good.
yeah,
So this part specifically, I know it's like a small addition maybe from your side, and we're like, okay, we'll put an iframe and a preview of the app, but this part is super helpful. Like, it's super, it saves a lot of time. I'm not saying like, okay, opening another tab is a lot of time, but this part is very nice. And I
yeah. I
guess
mean, it's an
that's thanks
important
to
thing to
Webflow
say.
apps, the Webflow apps that came in recently. So
Yeah, I mean, I
super
think
cool.
I think it's worth saying that the having Slater within the designer, the whole point about Slater is it's um, custom code for web flowers, right? Like we want to make
Mhm.
it easy for web flowers to do custom code within Webflow projects. That means 10,000 character limit is, that's gone. It also means that you, as a Webflower, maybe don't necessarily know all the code, right? Like you don't necessarily know how to code. So that's why the learn feature is so important. The explain code feature is so important. And trying to make it as streamlined as possible for Webflowers to do custom code in Webflow. Naturally, having the app within Webflow reduces that friction even further, right?
Exactly.
Because you don't need to open a new tab, which seems like a tiny thing, but actually it's quite fundamental in terms of what we're trying to achieve with Slater.
Exactly.
Having said that, though, this is very early on in the process. Like we've got this little iframe, it's not perfect, and you're right. Like if you get a
Of
prompt
course, there's
that's
could be better,
yeah,
but
yeah, if you get a
it's already
prompt
super
that's
good.
yeah, no, it is really good, but it is something that we've talked about, and we were kind of intrigued. Like, does this actually help Webflowers do custom code within their Webflow projects in comparison to just opening the new tab with all the functionality that has? But actually, the core features being in here in that little iframe have been taken up and used a lot more um, personally than I was expecting. So it's really, really cool. But like you say, it is still quite small, and I'm sure that I can't speak for the product team, but I know that there have been conversations about functionality being in such a small frame. How can that be improved? So stay tuned, but do like you've just done there. Please do give us this feedback, and if anyone's watching that's also got opinions about Slater as a product, if there are features that aren't there that should be there, UI changes, whatever, please do let us know because it's super, super helpful. Back to you. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, I knew about, I heard about Slater, but I've never used it before. But then when this happened, when this, like you said, it's a small feature, but it was like really fundamental for Webflow users. That, okay, I have this within my Webflow platform, so I have this within my Webflow environment. I don't need to go to another app. And this was like something that, I guess, was a step from the team, from the production team, that gave Webflow users a lot of uh, hands on the custom code. I can easily make custom code, put it in there, and just test it out and see how it works. So yeah, so this was a great feature. Also, just to like, I tried the explain code, the debug code. So if you have like, let's say, a clonable, and you clone something from, let's say, the Webflow clonables, and there's a code and you don't understand, you can also come here and debug it and understand what it does. So this is also super helpful, because I know a lot of people, like, if there's like they want a slider, maybe they would go to a clonable, they will just like try to get it, and maybe sometimes it's like, you know breaks apart. And then having this thing there to explain the code. Okay, I see the slider, I'm trying to like fix it to my needs, but I broke it, and this is the code, and it can help you out.
Yeah, I mean, you can
So
literally just highlight the code, click explain code, guys,
yeah,
and that will explain that particular bit of code. So it's a really, really
yeah,
helpful little feature there. Um,
exactly. So what does this code do? Like, I just highlighted this, and it's like, okay, this does that. GSAP
yeah,
library, it's this scroll trigger, and all that. Also, one more thing I want to point out, and I got this from Stack channel. They gave me this advice. If you're doing a library, like let's say GSAP or Swiper.js or whatever library, make sure that you go to copy the CDN from the original source and not from the Slater AI, because maybe the Slater AI will give you like something outdated or something older. So just for the CDNs, just make sure to get that. I tried, like, it's not like it doesn't work. It's just like you can get the most up to date CDNs from the original source rather than from the AI. Otherwise, the code itself, you can continue on that here.
yeah, really, really important little point there, because I had the same thing. I didn't have the most recent content delivery network, CDN, because I was like, Slater, give me the GSAP CDN or whatever. And then it'll give you the GSAP CDN, but it may not be the most recent version. And so just be
Exactly.
just be aware of that. If you're getting well, there was a firework library that Jared was using in one of them, and he just said, "Can you make sure that there's fireworks exploding from on click?" And again, it wasn't the most recent one, so just
And
just a quick tip there. Definitely appreciate that. Yeah, good tip.
yeah, so yeah, this is something important. Um, yeah, I mean,
By
you
the
guys
way,
you guys have done a great job. Oh, Mando, thank you, Mando.
yeah, Mando's just said, Yar is really doing a great job in that. I start to watch his channel in YouTube, and he's very helpful, always providing me with useful training links. Hey,
Thank you, Mando. Pleasure to help you. I'm glad you're liking my videos, and I'll try to make better trainings. I'm like focusing on like small points, like important points that come in, like, okay, HubSpot integration, slider, a small GSAP animation, so like specific stuff. And also from my use cases. So when I'm like working in a project, I get into a point where it's like I see that's complicated. Okay, let me make a video on that, like similar stuff. Like yesterday, I
yeah,
was like, okay, I need to make a slider for a client. I was like, I need to make like little practice. So I was like, maybe I'll try Slater AI and make a video and see how it works with Slater. And it
and you
actually did.
did.
Like,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
super
It's
awesome.
really
I was
cool
like,
how you're approaching the
mm,
video making. You're like, I've got this problem. I'm sure other people have the problem. Let's do a practice run and show it.
yeah, exactly. Like,
And speaking of, can we look at the swiper and then also the barbar.js one as well? Because I think they're really, really cool little tutorials. Worth mentioning as well, guys, that animations, you might see people like Timothy Ricks showing you animations, and they do it all within Webflow. They actually will put the custom code within there,
yeah,
or they might have a VS Code or something else. Now, I think it's worth saying why you should potentially consider using Slater rather than doing everything custom code in Webflow, or maybe using something alternative than VS Code. Like you can use that, but yeah, can I ask you this question actually? Like, why use Slater when you don't you don't need to necessarily for using GSAP library or baba.js.
I mean, again, it's that little feature where you have this right there within the environment. Like I have this just 2 clicks away. I can open my Slater, launch the app. I can see my code. I don't have to go to the other tab of let's say if it's code sandbox or like GitHub or something. Have this here. Can just like make edits, save. This light turns green. I know my website have the edits. So this bit gave me a lot of like I want to use later instead of the others, and this was really helpful. So yeah,
Awesome. Great to know. I mean, I personally am like biased. So naturally I'm gonna
yeah,
say why I think that Slater is really good, but I genuinely do think it is better than the other options. So I'm just intrigued why you think that as well. But if anyone's watching is like, yeah, cool, like I don't need Slater. No, you don't. And we're not forcing
yeah,
like but it is quite a helpful little app to have within the Webflow designer. And you've got the explain feature, you've got the AI feature, and
exactly.
it's also quite handy to have it all within there with libraries, community libraries coming, by the way, which might be helpful for you,
Really,
Yar, as well,
yeah,
because you're very keen on sharing content. I saw that you've done the clonable for the tic-tac-toe one and stuff. So very soon you'll be able to not only save the code to your personal library, but you'll
you can
also be
see
able
other people's.
to, yeah, you'll also be able to save that to a community library. And in the
That'd be
community
awesome.
library, you'll be able to click, yeah, save to my personal library, and then that will appear within whatever project you want that code to be saved into. So that's quite a cool little feature coming soon.
That's super nice. Like, thank you for giving me this. But this is super nice. Yeah, community because it's like how I share on Webflow. So when I share on Webflow, I make it like a clonable, so that it's on the community and people can clone it. And it would be great to have like a community of code so you can share the code and people can benefit from it.
Yeah, definitely. We want to be the place for code for Webflowers. That's the
But I
aim.
want to ask you, like, since you're, in it, what 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 is like some benefits of having Slater other rather than the competitors or the other tools? I'm just learning. I'm still new to it, so I'm learning throughout the way. But maybe you can tell me more. Like for me,
No,
as
it's
I
a
told
really
you, this bit is very useful to me. But maybe there's something I don't know yet. So
no, it's a really, really important question. I mean, a lot of people have said, I just use ChatGPT. Like, why would I need Slater? Um, so they'll go to ChatGPT, get the code, paste that into VS Code, and then host that code there and connect it to Webflow, which is a valid way of doing stuff, right?
yeah,
But I think the big thing that the big difference between Slater and other tools, other tools have AI functionality. You've got GitHub Copilot, or you could just use ChatGPT. The big difference with Slater is how streamlined it is for Webflowers. This is a coding tool built for Webflowers by
yeah,
Webflowers specifically for this tool. And the reason why that's powerful is it means that everyone that's using this tool is a Webflower. Everyone that's giving us feedback is giving the feedback based on this being used for Webflow. And it just means that we have like a hyper focus on serving the benefit of the Webflow community, which means that all the feedback that we're getting is hopefully helping all the same type of persona that is using the tool. And the fact that you now have the app within the designer reduces that friction even more, right? You've got
exactly,
one
exactly.
embed link, you paste that into your project, and then you've got that connected up. Whereas other tools, you're kind of hobnobbing stuff together to make it work. So we're just trying to reduce the friction, make it as easy as possible to do custom code within Webflow projects. And I think the fact that it's built by Edgar Allan as well is quite a
Yeah,
game-changing thing, because I mean Edgar Allan have been the leading Webflow agency,
Yeah, they're
or
like the
one of the
idols.
leading. Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
they built this tool specifically to help them with their client work within Webflow. So I think that's another really important point, that you can look at the tool right now and say, "Wow, this is cool," but trust me, there's a lot of stuff coming that's gonna further help Webflowers specifically do custom code within their Webflow projects. So that's my
Man,
answer.
super excited for what's coming. I'm very much excited. Like right now, it's super cool. Like I'm super excited with it right now. So I can't imagine how much better it can get.
Yeah, I mean, I think the community element of Slater as a company as well is growing, and that's something that I think actually differentiates it quite a lot from other tools as well. Like, we are focusing on building with Webflowers rather than just for Webflowers, and the fact
Mhm.
that Edgar Allen is a Webflow agency itself means that, like, everyone who's developing within the agency is using Slater for client projects, giving feedback. There's the Slack community with Webflowers in there, all giving feedback, and it's really exciting because you can also transfer the cost of hosting that code to your client as well. So that's another thing that's quite an exciting feature about
Yeah,
Slater, which again
definitely.
comes back to the fact that we're trying to streamline coding and all aspects of coding for Webflowers specifically. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Having focus on Webflowers. I mean, this is what makes Slater different from the other apps, because this is like you said, it's like right there. It's easy for Webflowers to use. It's using like even the AI, like the UI. It's like similar to what we have here. So I'm like
Yeah.
not having anything different, 'cause the dark AI and all that.
Yeah.
So yeah, so like it was very helpful. I saw like a comment from Mason when I made the tic tac toe game, and he was like, "Yeah, I wanted to make that game, and you beat me to it." And I'm like,
Yeah,
I guess they use
he's
the tool
super
as well,
plugged
like
in
for the yeah. I
for
haven't met
client
him, but
work
like
and stuff.
super cool guy. I've
Yeah,
seen a lot
dude,
of his work.
he's a big fan of yours. So yeah, I mean, that's something else that I think is quite unique about Slater as a product, is that, like, Edgar Allen is super plugged into community. Like, I've
This
not
is
been part of
important. Yeah,
this is important. I mean, especially when you're creating a product like for a certain group, to know the names and faces of people that are using your product, I think is a very unique thing that Edgar Allen really, really focuses on. And Mason is mad about community. Um, so
super
it's
cool,
awesome to be
super
part of the
cool.
journey. But sorry, I'm
Yeah.
taking this live stream away from you. Let's talk a little
Nah.
bit about this Baba JS one.
Okay.
Before you show us the code, can we see the result of the code? Because I think it's
Yeah.
so cool.
It was like I've always wanted to do this animation, but like it was like, oh, I need to like make this transitions and stuff. But like, let's see. Okay, so it's like a marquee, two marquee. These are some projects I've done, so I was like using them as a placeholder. So when you click, it just like zooms in, and you get
Ooh,
that you get the second page. Like this zooms in, takes you to another page,
yeah,
and this is where Barber.js is working, and then you can scroll and see the rest of the elements or whatever,
yeah,
the
sure. So this is
explanation
a
of the page.
CMS.
And then yeah, exactly. So and then you click X and you go back to the home page, and then whatever you click on it, it just takes like the full width.
Okay, wait. How long did this take you to do?
Um, Maybe 2 3 hours,
Okay, so
to
this
be
is a
honest.
harder animation. It does look a lot
Yeah,
more
like the
difficult.
logic coming with the logic. So first I was like, okay, it needs to get bigger, and I tried for the picture itself to get bigger, and it was like, okay, there is an overflow hidden, and the picture is not like getting full size because the parent element has an overflow hidden. So it was
Hmm.
like getting bigger, but inside this bit. And then I had to like think around. And I was like, okay, so what we do here, the logic is that when I click, there's a clone image that's being created, and that's the image that gets bigger. And then when I'm on the full page of the CMS, that clone image is removed. So this
Mm.
bit took me time to like figure out. I was like, okay, if I create that, so there's a clone image, like this is a clone image, comes in, goes full page, and then deletes itself. You know what I
Okay,
mean?
wait, backtrack. So what you're saying is the image that we see here isn't the
This is the same
image.
as. No, this
Yeah.
is the same as. When I click, a clone image is created on that
Okay.
space. You know?
Okay. I understand it now. And
So
then that's the thing. The clone image is the one that
this is the
expands. Yeah.
animation.
Okay.
Exactly. So you see, like, if I click, something else comes up. That main image is still there on its marquee on the section. And like I
Mm.
was like fine tuning to make it look like super cool. I don't know how efficient this is, but I tested this website on like Google Lighthouse and stuff, and it's super good. Huh? It's like super good performance. I'm all about performance and making sure that my websites are uh, performing very well.
I wonder
So
how it works with accessibility though, because I guess there's two images that are created.
well, it creates it at the point that you click on, and then
Damn,
it removes
98.
itself. Yeah, so it's super good. Like I don't have any problem with the image itself. Like just like some attributes.
Oh, okay, so
Uh,
the image disappears afterwards. Because what I was wondering
yeah,
is if there's like an overlay, if it's like layered and then there's two images, if that makes sense. But that's
yeah.
not
No,
happening.
it gets create like it appends this image when I click. So this is what I was making sure of. So like the image only comes in after I click, and then it gets deleted after the animation is over. So this is what I was like chatting with Slater. I was like, make this for me. Yeah, this is what I want, so that I don't
Okay,
have any issues of like a double image or something. It's just like during that animation, it's like 2 second animation.
okay,
Clone the
awesome.
image, make it bigger, delete it.
Okay, that makes sense.
This bit
Clone
took
image.
me time to like figure out. It's like, okay, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? It's like, okay, I'll do this.
Yeah,
And it's like, okay,
yeah, and you were kind of
this
like
worked.
playing with different stuff. Okay,
Yeah,
let's have a look at Slater now. That's awesome. Thanks for that explanation.
no worries. Okay, so of course there's a page, the CMS page, which is this one. This is the main CMS page. Uh, one more thing, I used all these animation. These animations are CSS. It's not like JavaScript or Waffle animation. So this is like a CSS animation where it says, okay, this heading grab translates and goes from bottom to top. So like this bit. And also the marquee on the homepage is a CSS. Like this.
Hmm.
This is a, like you see, it's style. It's marquee into CSS, and this is how I'm moving these two elements.
Okay.
And then I went to Slater to build the JavaScript. So here is where I build. I mean, if you have ideas of, if you think of, if you have any feedback, please tell me. And if anyone is watching and having feedback, I would love to hear feedback about this. I mean, this was a super experimental thing, and I was like, okay, I need to make this cool and make it work.
Okay.
Okay, so in the Slater, so here I was like, okay, so there's a clone image that doesn't appear, so it's null, so it doesn't appear, and then I append this clone image. So you see in the document body, append cloned image upon click. So when I click, there's an event listener. So when I click, you appended the image on the space where it is, like on the section, like, because this is moving, right? So that bit was a bit also tricky because this is moving. So when I clone the image, I want it to be cloned in the same place that it's on. So if it's like down here or up here, and I was testing with that as well. And then here's where like I use GSAP, so I tell it, okay, so the pixels on the top and the bottom, so like where the pixels are in the page. Z index, of course, is like super high. I use the background white. This was like some styling that I wanted the clone image to have. So background white, so nothing appears behind it, and some border radius because this one has a border radius. So I was like, okay, the clone image need to have border radius as well. And then here's the animation. So it's a 1 second animation. It aims to go to the center. So top left X and Y is like 50%. So it like aims to go to the center of the viewport of the page.
Mm-hmm.
And then it grows to 100 view width, 100 view height, so that it looks like the CMS page. So, and then easing, I use some easing. I was trying with the easing. This bit was also experimental. Took me some time. There's a GSAP easing like tool, GSAP ease tool. I can just share it for the viewers. Just
Yeah, do it.
go to ease options. GSAP ease. So this bit super good because it's like just a tool. Like you can see some easing and click on the ease you want and just like update it. So this is in, out, and you just copy this. You see like different. Sorry. Oh, this bugged for some reason.
Can
But
you
yeah,
copy in the bottom left? It says copy.
yeah. Like I just copy it like this. You can
Oh,
copy or
okay,
copy the
okay.
whole thing. You know, like depends on you can copy the whole because the whole thing has a duration and stuff. I just need the easing, so I just like
Oh,
copy it
yeah.
like this.
Yeah.
Copy paste, and then you go on Slater and fix it. Of course, you can ask Slater AI to make you like an uh, easing option. But yeah,
Yeah.
and then so when this is completed, when the GSAP animation is completed, Barba.js comes in and takes you to the new page. So this is where I'm like, okay, I'm transitioning to that new page on the CMS.
Okay, wait. Pause.
Go
So
ahead.
we've got GSAP to start with. So when
Mhm.
you click, GSAP is basically doing the ease
The animation.
in
So
to
no,
make it
first
full
jQuery is creating the clone. So
clone
first
image.
I'm creating
Okay.
clone when I
Okay.
click add an event listener, and then
Okay.
GSAP animates the clone, and then Barba.js comes in and like makes the transition to the new page.
Okay. Let's talk about the bar. But okay, if anyone's got any questions, because this is kind of confusing, guys. If you're a visual person, put questions in the chat. But okay, yeah, carry on. I think we're with you. jQuery
Yeah,
clones it. GSAP
exactly.
eases it to be
Animates it.
full.
Yeah, exactly.
And now we're at the bar.js stage. Talk.
Yeah. So Barba.js is a transition tool. Like it basically has like this awesome page-to-page transition. So it transitions you from page to page and an animation. So you don't have like for example, if I go like from a page to here, it just like has this load and stuff. But in Barba.js, uh, just like have a look. Okay, so this is Barba.js. You see like the transitions, and then if you click here, it has like some animation, and it takes you to another page.
Right.
So
So it's got
everything
the
takes you.
swipe feature, or you can
Yeah.
choose what type of animation you're doing in here. Nice.
So how you go from page to page, it's animated. So like here, I go to you see this is legacy, and if I go to life cycle, it has this animation, and it's taking me actually to another page. There's no like load in, load out, like the default stuff that happen in Windows. So this is what Barba.js does. So this is what I wanted to do. I didn't want it to zoom out and then have a load and then where there's a glitch and okay, it's loading the new page. No, I just wanted it to zoom out, come in full page, and then the new page is there right away. See, so this is like zooming out, and then now I have the new page. There is no
What I'm
glitch, there is no load, there is no anything. What?
what
Tell
I'm
me.
confused about is what part of this is so jQuery is cloning it. So we don't
Yeah,
visualize that. It's just like
yeah,
clone.
happening on click.
So yeah, just happens on click. So we don't visualize that bit, right? But then that clones the jQuery bit of the code. Then you're using GSAP to do the zoom
Mhm.
bit. And then again, we don't see this, but Barba.js changes the page URL. Is that right?
Exactly, exactly. So
Okay.
here
Okay.
I'm telling it so uh, transition like initiate Barba.js after this on complete of the animation. You initiate Barba.js and take me to the new page. So the new page is the page that I clicked on, and here I'm telling it okay, remove that cloned image. So after I'm on the new page, remove the cloned image and go back to the clone image being null so that the clone image is out. So I don't have any performance problem.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, this bit is
Damn.
basically transitioning out. So when I have this bit, it's like I have like
some animations come out.
Like it's very simple. Was an example animation they put on the docs. I didn't go much into this, like the leaving part when you leave the page and go back to the homepage. I didn't focus much into this, but I would like to, make another animation where like when you click X, it zooms in and it gets smaller.
Yeah,
And
you could do
maybe
the opposite,
that
maybe.
yeah, exactly. And that
Yeah,
would be
yeah,
like
yeah.
step two.
But that's. I
Get
guess
back
you
to
just
that.
need to copy the code and reverse the order of everything. If it's like Webflow animations, maybe.
Yeah, I need to also dissect that. I mean, I tried different things here. I like had a long conversation. Where is it? I think I cleared it out. But I tried different methods, different things. This took me a long time, like 3 hours or 2 hours to figure out.
Damn.
But
Okay.
um, but yeah, this bit with the cloning image, I was like, okay, now it works because I cloned the image. I don't need to worry about any like parent element. I know that I don't need to change the page layout. This is a cloned image. It gets bigger. It gives me the animation I need. Barber.js takes me to the new page. I'm done. Remove the clone image.
Yeah, that's
Maybe
so
this is
cool.
not like maybe there are other more efficient way or simpler ways, but I guess this is good. It's not affecting my performance at all. That's something I also always worry about. Make sure that I don't have any performance issues.
Mm.
So yeah.
No, it's so cool. In the last few minutes of this, should we have a quick look at swiper.js as well?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
So this one was yesterday. I actually have a project coming soon that I need to make a swiper. So I was like, okay, I need to do some practice
mm.
on swipers. So I'm showing you all my projects now, so that's not a problem. So this was the swiper.js. Now this was simple. First, let me show you the result. So this is swiper.js. This is draggable. You see it draggable. It has this
Nice.
free mode, so like it doesn't like snap. It's like if you
Do you-
drag it too fast, it just keeps dragging.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
it drags with the keyboard. Like now I'm pressing the arrows on the keyboard, so that works.
Oh,
And
cool.
also like on the trackpad, if you drag horizontally, it moves it with the trackpad.
Okay, dude, I need to do this
Yeah,
on the Webflow website.
yeah.
Um, okay,
Use
nice.
Slater. I'm
Yeah, I
marketing
will.
Slater now. You have to
I
use Slater
will. Yeah,
AI.
I know. I will. I've
Yeah.
just got a Webflow animation right now, and it's not very functional. So yeah.
By the way, I have a question. Maybe like we can get into that more deeper later. Is there a way to like, let's say, upload something to Slater? Because I have like this idea of, well, I already do this idea with like, let's say, ChatGPT. I copy the docs, I put it in a PDF format. Like, let's say I have all the options of this library, and then
Hmm.
I upload that to ChatGPT, and I go like, okay, now we need to make an animation. You have all the options. Just make me the animation. So, is there a way to do that in Slater AI where I can upload like PDF or a sheet or something?
Yeah, I believe what you can do is take data from some kind of database. So
Yeah,
if you were to use like Zero or Airtable or whatever, and
yeah,
then you can basically get Slater to talk to Airtable or Zero or whatever. But
yeah,
in terms of like uploading a doc to Slater, like Slater's not got database because we talked about this yesterday. It doesn't have like database functionality,
yeah.
but it can talk to databases, if that makes sense.
And
Um,
how do I do that? Like, do I give it a link, or is there like a way,
I'm gonna
or
write
I have
this
to
down,
integrate
and
it? Okay,
I'm gonna get
so
Jared because I feel like this is like what we should do is do a live stream because
yeah,
there's a couple of people that in the game challenge have got scoreboards.
yeah,
And people have been like, how the hell do you do a scoreboard within Slater, right? How's that
yeah,
data
into
being
the
saved?
database.
Well,
Yeah,
that data is not being saved by Slater. That
somewhere else.
data, yeah, being saved by Slater is communicating with Zero or Airtable or whatever.
Yeah,
So, but that's a really good live stream idea. So, essentially, you want to upload.
yeah. Like in ChatGPT, there's interpreter or something. Like now, there's this interpreter or code interpreter or some like functionality. And
Yeah.
there you can like upload files. So in the chat, you upload a file and then give it a prompt. And this way it reads the file and you can like literally chat with the file. So,
Okay.
and in
Awesome.
this case, I can like upload the docs for the library, the most up-to-date docs. I can like just write them and like write the options, because let's say I'm on, or like Barbara, I have like a lot of, stuff that I can do. So I
Yeah.
can give it to Slater and go like, okay, you have all the options. I want to do this. From these options, give me the animation. This would be super cool if that's possible.
Okay. I've written this down. Um,
Yeah,
so it's in the diary. Put it that way.
nice,
Okay.
nice,
Great question though.
awesome.
By the way,
So
I want
yeah,
to be conscious of your time, so let's
no,
we can end in the next couple of minutes if you're okay with that.
no worries. Yeah. So I just wanted to share this one. So this one is a pretty simple. It's pretty basic. Again, I want to Slater AI. First, I got the CDN from the original source. So again, this is something to keep an eye on. I got the CDN from the original source because Slater did give me a CDN, but it wasn't the same one. So I just, not this one, actually. Yeah, so this one, it gave me a CDN, different bundle. So yeah, so I got the CDN from the original source, and then I started telling it what I want. I was like, I want the animation to be this much, look at the speed. I want it to be 2 on tablet, 1 on mobile, 3 on desktop. So these are the breakpoints that I want. I want it to be horizontal. I want it to be draggable. I want it to use my keyboard. So it gave me all these options based on what it knows from Swiper.js docs. Again, now there are maybe more stuff that Swiper.js adds, more options, more new options. So maybe Slater doesn't know that. So if we can like have some way to update it, that would be great. Or like tell it, okay, there's new stuff. Here's the new stuff, and we want to make an animation. That'd be super cool.
Yeah, and redo the code as off the back of
Dylan
that.
is
Yeah.
in the chat. I see Dylan. Hello, Dylan.
Yeah, he says, "Good to
Yeah,
see you, two lovely people. Nice to see you here, Dylan." We're about to
happy
end the
guy.
stream, Dylan, but
Yeah, welcome.
you have to rewatch.
Yeah,
Also, Dylan's going to be coming on a community spotlight soon, which I'm going to
nice.
arrange with you soon, Dylan. But yeah, I think we should wrap it up there because I've
All
already
right.
taken an hour of your time. We have covered a hell of a lot, but I'm just going to do some quick fire lessons from this, or what I've learned from you during this session. We've got
I'm just gonna stop the screen. Yeah.
one. Yeah, of course, that's great. We've got CDN, right? Get the CDN from whichever library you want to get.
Library.
So
Yeah.
if it's GSAP or Baba.js or whatever, go there rather than asking Slater for it. It may work with Slater, but you're more likely to get the most recent version if you go there and get it yourself, because obviously Slater's pulling in information from the web, and it might not be the most up to date. Second thing that we talked about was prompting. Prompts. If you know exactly what the class names are, or whatever you're trying to, whatever you're using to target in Webflow, whether you're targeting the attributes, the ID, or the class name, make sure that you've set things up in Webflow so that when you ask the prompt in Slater, Slater knows what the hell you're talking about. Now,
Exactly.
we talked yesterday about using Slater as a kind of sounding board for ideas. You can ask quite broad prompts, and Slater will give you quite specific answers that then you can follow.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to get a very specific result with Slater, then make sure you give Slater a very specific target so that you're communicating clearly. Okay. So that's
Exactly. Exactly.
big takeaway number 2. Takeaway number 3 is that Slater doesn't always get things right. Yeah, you just said that you've spent 5 minutes on some of these animations, 2 hours on other animations.
Mm-hmm.
And you might need to keep prompting in order to get the result that you want. If that's the case, make sure that you give Slater bite-sized chunks in order to get the result that you want. If you give it the whole hog, if you say, "Hey Slater, I want you to, do something super super difficult, super super early," right? Then you might get a lot of
Yeah.
code that might not work as well as it would if you just went bit by bit. So I think that's just an important third takeaway there. Those are my big three from this session. Is that fair?
Yeah, I mean, like exactly like the if you give it a bit by bit, like how I did with the tic tac toe. So first you make the game, you make sure that the game works, and then you add like a scoreboard, and then you add like more features, and just like bit by bit, and like it's a back and forth conversation. It's like you're talking to your developer, like or some
It's
person. You're
like
just like,
talking to a
okay,
human. Yeah.
yeah. You go like, okay, first let's build this, and then they build, and like just have a back and forth conversation, and go like, okay, maybe we do this, maybe we do that, we add this, we add that, and bit by bit, and that's it.
Amen. It's like talking to the smartest, all-encompassing human you've ever met.
Yes.
But yeah, it's like it's still a conversation. So that's a really important thing to remember. So
Exactly.
we've gone through some kind of summary conclusion bits, but you definitely need to follow Yar's journey on YouTube. He's doing a video every single day. He's currently on day 39. Is that right?
Yeah, 39 today.
All right. So we've got over a third. We're approaching halfway. Go give him some love. Follow him on Twitter. Follow on YouTube. Write nice comments. Send him a DM if you found a video helpful. You do not know how helpful it is for a creator to get a personal response to something you've made. It means the
True.
world. So please
True.
do that if you guys have found any of the content that you're seeing from Yar really helpful. Yeah. Do you have anything else to add before we wrap this up?
It's a pleasure to talk to you. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for the invitation, and I'm looking forward for more and more in Slater. I'm looking forward on all the updates. Looking forward to what we can do, and this is just the beginning, like you said. We have a
This
lot
is
coming on the way.
day one.
Yeah,
Day
exactly.
one, people.
So
There is
there's a lot
so
coming.
much to come. Yeah. And
Yeah.
make sure that, just like you say there, I'm going to piggyback off your comment. If there's any feedback that you guys have, let us know. DM on Twitter, send a message in the Slack. You can, message Mason or Edgar Allen or the Slater app. We want to have these conversations. So yeah, great last point there, yeah. Thanks so much,
Exactly.
guys. Let's end the stream there. Have a great day. Go make some cool animations using these tutorials that Yar has done. Go use Slater, have a play. Remember that there's the game competition on right now. So go make something cool. You
So we
have
have the
got,
deadline on the 21st, right?
yep. So
Yeah.
next
Okay. Next
Thursday.
Thursday.
Let me just,
Yeah.
it's the 14th
Next
today. It's
Thursday.
21st.
Yeah.
Exactly.
1 week from now.
1 week, people. You've got a week to make something
To make an
beautiful.
awesome game.
Yeah. And you guys, go follow Slater_app on Twitter to see a thread of the game so far. There's some amazing games. Don't go there if you've got work to do, though, because you ain't doing it.
Addictive games, you get stuff. I get stuck
It's
on it.
honestly, I hope Mason's not watching because I've been playing some games. But yeah, there's some awesome things coming out there. So go check it out if you're interested as well. Yeah, you've been a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on this community spotlight. Awesome.
Thank you, Jack. See you later.
Cheers, everyone.
Have a great
Bye.
day. Bye-bye.
End stream.